Hello to Haley and Philip, the Chair and Vice Chair of the IOSH Theatre Advisory Group. Thank you for joining us today to provide some valuable insights into the theatre industry. This quickfire interview is for those who are just starting out in their safety and health careers or who may be looking for a career change. Myself, Sheena, and Shameen, who are members of the IOSH Future Leaders Community Steering Group, will now ask you a few questions to provide that insight.
Why would a new entrant into the OSH professional choose to join the theatre industry over any other?
Hi, Shamim. That's a really good question. And actually, live theatre production is really diverse in terms of like all the different trades and kind of sub-industries within it. For example, we have design and manufacturing and fabrication of scenic items, costumes and props, things like the running of buildings, maintaining of buildings, customer-focused roles and trades. So there's just a lot in there. So from a health and safety point of view, it's really interesting if you're not sure what your specialism is yet, for example, it's a good place to start and come and like dip your toes into lots of different areas to work out what you might like to specialise in. Or if you want to be more of a generalist, then it's a really good place to be as well. Bill, I don't know if you want to add any more.
Yeah, I guess just to add that, from experience, we've got a huge range of people who come from lots of different backgrounds, some from the public sector, some from the private sector. Someone like me, I came from facilities management. So as Haley said, there's a huge range of jobs where people's skills will be matched to those jobs. And it's an exciting role for anyone who's looking for a new career.
Thanks, Haley and Phil. Very insightful. So this next question is for Haley. What safety areas should an OSH professional aim to gain experience on in your industry?
Okay, so I think because there are so many areas and so many trades and that within the industry, I think the key thing would be to make sure that you have a really good understanding of health and safety law and health and safety principles and how to apply them then to lots of different types of situations that you're going to come across in the theatre world. I think it's also helpful to kind of develop skills in and have an understanding for the processes of putting on a theatre show, and to understand from the theatre practitioner's point of view what challenges they're facing. So within the theatre world, we have a lot of really tight deadlines, so a show has to open on a certain day, that we've sold tickets for. And there are lots of other restrictions as well, like budgets and things like that. So I think it's really important for a health and safety practitioner to kind of gain an understanding of that and learn about that. And then things like developing really good communication skills and people skills and that kind of thing, and just kind of developing problem solving skills as well, because we're often asked questions about some wild and wonderful things, and that so to be able to kind of problem solve and think on the spot and be creative about how you address a situation or address a particular risk would be really helpful. Bill,
I guess just to follow on, it's a balancing act, because obviously it's a creative industry, but we still have to make sure that we're fulfilling our obligations from a health and safety perspective. So you need to kind of do a bit of a juggling act most days to kind of counteract, what's safe, but also not stifle that kind of creativity that most people enjoy when they go to a theatre. But I think for me, it's about engagement. It's about connecting with people. I think we're quite a people-focused industry, and I think people who kind of can interact and engage and kind of have a sense of humour will help as well. I think it's a world made for most people who can do that.
Well, thanks for that, guys. This next question is for you, Phil. What are the career options in the theatre sector?
Well, we've probably got a lot of people who do safety that probably isn't in their job title. So we've got technical management, production management, designers, actual full-time safety practitioners. It's quite a small network of people. There's not a huge amount. Someone like me, I got involved in amateur theatre and community theatre. So I saw that as a way of gaining experience to understand the unique aspects of what theatre is, some of the terminology, some of the language that we might use. So if there isn't a full-time job readily available, that might be something for people to think about, to kind of volunteer to get involved in amateur theatre, just so they can get a feel about what the industry offers. And then if that works, then that experience will stand them in good stead if they do apply for full-time jobs within the sector. Hayley, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, I came from a stage management background. So I was a theatre stage manager and a production manager before I qualified in health and safety and moved over. So that kind of gave me good grounding and understanding the technical side of it. But other ways in. So you may want to work for a consultancy that specialise with live events and live theatre, or set yourself up as a sole trader as well, and and specialise in live theatre, live events, and so on. There are also lots of other organisations though that are not theatres but support the theatre industry, and that might be a good way in as well. So for example, there are construction companies that build scenery. There are hire companies out there that specialise in specific technical equipment, automation, lighting, sound, and so there are other avenues in as well, rather than going directly to a theatre.
Thanks very much, Phil and Hayley. And just to add on my side, working in the gaming and hospitality industry, we have theatres within our organizations as well. So you can branch off in so many different avenues. It's actually really a good springboard for anyone entering. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. So this next question is for Hayley. How is the rise of social media and technology affecting your industry, and how do you think it will affect the future of OSH within your industry?
So at the moment, the rise of social media and technology is actually having a really positive impact on our industry, because it's helping us to reach out to new and wider audiences. So really helpful for us at the moment. And then in terms of OSH and health and safety practice, it's kind of making things easier as well, because we're able to automate things on stage, for example, rather than relying on manual handling and that kind of thing. So it's helping us to make the spaces and make the practice safer. Phil, do you want to?
Yeah, and I guess I hate to mention it, but obviously during COVID, it was a bit of a godsend for our industry, because we were still able to put productions on, which were then opened up to the world of social media, which I think has opened theatre up to a whole new range of people and new audiences, and perhaps people who see theatre as a career as well. But I think a lot of our national companies and local companies have got social media presence, so people are interested. There's the get out there, follow them, learn about what theatres are doing, and actually see what kind of actions they're doing within the theatre industry. So yeah, I'm quite old. I'm not as au fait on social media as some others, but even I kind of follow lots of members just to see what they're getting up to and see kind of what things are happening in the industry.
I suppose then it's a good way of promoting the industry to the younger generation and the type of future leaders we're trying to attract into our industry. Thank you for that, guys. So the next one is for you, Phil. What has been the most exciting memory in your time in the industry, and what lessons did you take away from it?
Well, it's quite a few. As I say, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, but I think we get lots of interesting calls, whether it's stunts on stage, whether it's animals, whether it's kind of trying to dangle performers high up on stage. But I suppose one of the overriding memories I have is many moons ago I got a phone call from a colleague asking me if I could go to a theatre to do a risk assessment for an Aladdin's magic carpet. So I don't think there's probably many jobs where a safety practitioner is asked to do a risk assessment on a flying magic carpet. So I won't tell you what the secrets were and how we managed to get around it. But I think that's the one thing that we have in our industry. We have the same safety problems and safety issues that most industries will have. But because it's about a live event, it's about interacting with performers on stage, it just brings a slightly different, unique way of working in our industry. And I think with anything, lessons learned, I think that knowledge is there for the future. So once you've solved one problem, invariably that similar situation might crop up in the future, and having that knowledge and experience to fall back on, I think is something that we all probably learn from and adapt every day at work. But Hayley's probably got some equally exciting past problems she's had to deal with as well.
Thanks, Phil. But for me, this probably sounds a bit lame now next to your answer, Phil, but for me, the most exciting part of my job, I think, is just having the privilege to be able to listen in to the design processes and the creative processes. So I feel like I'm always in a very privileged position that I see, you know, the initial design or the initial drawing even that a designer presents, you know, so something that's come out of their imagination, and they write it down or draw it on a piece of paper, or make a scale model and then present that to the teams. And then you follow the teams then on the journey to making that a reality, and, you know, and something then that an actor is standing on a stage, and that a live audience is experiencing. And that for me is just never gets boring, is always exciting. And specifically as well, there's been a couple of times where I've been involved in the development and the opening of new buildings and new spaces, and that in itself is also really interesting as well, to be kind of part of that design and development process and process of putting together you know, and building operations and that kind of thing. I find that exciting. But yeah, slightly different to Phil, but just as exciting.
Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the crux of it is that your day will never be the same as any other day. There's always something you look forward to. Thanks for that. Right, and then our final question is for you, Phil. So what value has the IOSH Theatre Advisory Group provided to you personally, and what can it offer to students and future leaders?
Okay, well, I was one of the founder members of the group, and I think the thing that it gives me and continues to give me is kind of that peer support and that peer kind of network. So, you know, if we've got a problem, you know, we can share those problems. There's, as I said earlier, there is probably a fair chance that someone within our group will have had a similar situation, that we can use their skills and experience, and just not being isolated, because obviously it can be when you're kind of at the top of your game as a safety practitioner, you might sometimes feel isolated on your own, and having a group of people who you can pick up the phone to, or you can email, just to bounce ideas off. You might know the answer yourself, but just to bounce some ideas off and actually get confirmation of your own thoughts or some new ideas. It's a great way that we kind of work as a group, and we try to encourage people to kind of become part of that group, because we're all about the future as well. You know, we're all kind of looking at succession plans. We're all looking at encouraging more people into the industry. So anything we can do to help our colleagues, but help our future colleagues, that's what we're all about within the IOSH group. Hayley, you got anything you want to add?
I think it's the same for me, Phil. Actually, it's having that peer support and just somewhere to go for reassurance as well is really helpful. For me personally, over the COVID pandemic, it was really isolating, and you know, and 90%, well, more than 90% of my of my colleagues were furloughed, and all of a sudden you're on your own, you're at home, and you've all of a sudden, as a health and safety practitioner, got to start from scratch in terms of how do I help my business and, you know, my chief executive and the teams and that move through this and reopen, and that's really scary. So to have a network of people in the theatre advisory group that I can reach out to and know that I'm not alone in that was invaluable, really.
And we have fun as well. I'll just add that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun is always an important element of our day-to-day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Hayley and Phil. That was really useful information, and we're sure it will help inspire the new OSH professionals.
Great,
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for having us. It's always great to have an opportunity to talk to up and coming future leaders and graduates, and to, you know, just to learn more about being a health and safety practitioner, and particularly health and safety practitioner in the theatre industry as well. And I just wanted to say that if anybody watching or listening was interested in finding out more about the Theatre Advisory Group, whether that's becoming a member of the group or finding out more about being on our committee, then please do shout up and let us know. And I think you can email networks@iosh.com if you have any questions or queries or are interested in joining us. Then yeah, then please do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.